looks quite different.
Yeah.
So does yours, Jeff.
No, it doesn't.
That shot they took of me right when I started at Cars, and it is like the best glamour shot I think I've ever had. And I've cut my hair quite a bit since. So when people see me, they're like, "Whoa, okay, she definitely looks different than the photo." But uh, I don't think I'll ever take a nice photo again like
It's just the hair being straight.
that.
And you can't see my background particularly well, but I was on a bridge over the Chicago River, looking, I think, looking south here. Don't ask me why we picked that particular spot, but
Definitely good lighting.
Glamours.
See, before we hit the go live button, y'all were talking about former lives in the Chicago ad business.
Yes.
I've always wondered. I've been in the car business my entire life, and obviously dealing with ad agencies all the time. But I always wondered, when you get outside of the car business, how ruthless is it?
Do we have another hour? I don't know. I think that the ad business, I don't know if I use the word ruthless, but competitive for sure. And we'll talk more a little bit about that, but I think the dynamic of how ad agencies buy media on behalf of clients is changing. So I think that competition's only growing.
Yeah, the barrier to entry has gotten a lot lower, hasn't it?
Yeah, and audiences are playing a bigger part in where those true, pure, targeted audiences come from is becoming more and more important to brands or dealers or OEMs. So it's a different commodity, if you will, today than it was years ago.
Do you ever miss the newspaper days, the radio buying?
Oh yeah.
I am a digital person. I promise you. I love the smell of paper. Like, open a book and smell the paper. I love the smell of paper. So I enjoy a physical book or newspaper.
I get that.
Well, sorry, Julie, you got cut off by the "Hey, we're here."
I crashed right in.
I think we need to cut the volume off of that intro.
Yeah, that sound effect is kind of jarring. I didn't know it was happening. Yeah.
Wake up.
Scares the shit out of me every time.
That's the whole point, Jeff. It's for you.
I know. Wake you up.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to come back to the smell of paper in a moment. But more importantly, who are we and what are we doing here today? So we've got the crew from Cars, and I think they both have told us they both are semi-new. I mean, in this day and age, 14 months and 2 years in,
it's pretty good.
That's kind of ancient.
Yeah.
But you guys feel new, and please, as your first time on Refresh Friday, introduce yourselves. And Julie, let's start with you. Ladies first.
Yeah, sure thing. First of all, thank you for having me. So excited to be here. Excited to talk about NADA insights and all the buzz. Sure, but first, Julie Scott. I have been at Cars for just over 2 years now. And you say it's ancient, but I feel like I'm still learning because there's so much change happening, not only at Cars, but in the industry. And past 2 years has been nothing but change. So even if you've been around for a long time, everything is still new. Prior to Cars, I get to do a fun thing where I name drop my previous employer, which is The Onion. So if you've heard of The Onion, the satirical comedy digital site, you can ask me all kinds of insider questions and I'll answer none of them. And before that, I spent about 20 years in ad agencies, working with large brands, and really working to understand challenges and identify solutions in media and brand work. Mark Hodes and I we have to take a moment at some point in our future, Mark, and talk about all of our similar agency experiences, but
Yeah,
we won't
yeah.
do that today. We won't do that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, yeah, that would be fun. Are you done, or should I go?
Oh, please go.
All right, I'm on my way. So Mark Hodes, I am relatively new at Cars. I think it is 14 months almost to the day. And I suppose a comment about that relative to I was shocked when I met most of the sales crew in particular at NADA. I mean, the tenure is, I don't know what the average is, but everybody seemed to have been there a decade or longer, and which actually speaks pretty highly of the kind of organization Cars is to a large extent. But my job is as EVP of buy-sell. So what that roughly translates into is vehicle acquisition, and the other part of that equation, which is helping dealers optimize their inventory and dispose of vehicles that they no longer want for whatever reason. So that's why it's called buy sell. Think of this as the mirror of the current cars marketplace, and there's lots of people who hit our site every day who are ready to go to a trusted source to get a quote on the vehicle and the appraised amount of the vehicle and sell it to a trusted seller, which are dealers in our world. So, my job is to harness that latent capability that we just bring to the market just because of the power of the brand and the fact that there's so many people coming and interacting with us. I was, brought in to help create the vision, the strategy, and get us to market really, really quickly. And that led us to Accu-Trade, which I'm sure we'll be talking about in some detail. Prior to Cars, I started and ran and sold a company called Forever Car, and that was in the digital vehicle service contract business. So I have some experience on sort of the F&I side of the house, and that was quite an adventure. And prior to that, as we alluded to, lots of agency experience.
I'm really curious because if it's called Forever Car and it's in the contracting business, how long were those contracts?
Right. Well, here's the cool thing. We blew up the VSC category by innovating a brand new product. And not to get too much in the weeds, but vehicle service contracts are sold in a very odd way in most instances, and especially outside of the loan. It's, there's call centers.
Believe me, I know. I get all the phone calls.
Yeah. So we decided to do that differently and put it 100% on digital platform and make it a subscription, which is still is very, very unusual in the category. So lots of fun figuring out the VSC world, and then agency experience. And then I had some, senior marketing roles in various brands before starting Forever Car. So that's a bit about me.
I think you just laid out part of Car's product roadmap there.
Yeah, no.
A little bit, yeah.
Both of you were big catches for Cars.com with the experience and the positions that you're in now. My goodness.
Let's make sure Alex Vetter's listening to that.
I'm sure he is.
I am partnered here with Mark though today because as Mark shared his background, I think he and I complement each other well with where Cars is going. And in my role today, I am starting what is a media network within our organization and really thinking about how we help dealers, associations, and OEMs think more strategically about how and where they're buying media and the messages that are going out based on the need in market. And so as we talk about vehicle acquisition today, we also talk about how does that message get communicated, both to dealers and customers alike. So this is a fun pairing for me too, to spend some time with Mark talking about this.
Do you know of any dealerships that use satire in their media messages and have been successful with it?
I don't know that I've met anyone brave enough to try.
Yeah.
satire.
I bet it would work.
But
Or
I'm
completely
sure
flop.
I'm sure the Onion has
Yeah.
some satirical headlines for us in the industry.
As long as you don't need to advertise on Twitter, good to go.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
No satire
The
allowed
cesspool. No, there's not. You get kicked off. That's great.
there. There you go. Brian Leslie with the Trunk Monkey.
Trunk monkey.
And I've got the Badger. I don't know if you can see it, but he's right there.
Oh yeah.
From Johnson Automotive.
Are you guys familiar with the Badger?
No, is it the Honey Badger, the Kansas City Chief Safety? That's the only thing I care about.
No.
No?
You'll have to I think the videos are probably, I know they're in the forum somewhere and they're probably on YouTube. You'll just have to look up the Badger. What dealership was that, Alex?
That was Johnson Automotive.
Johnson. Yeah, you have to look that
Out
up.
of Kakalaki.
And then the
It's
Trunk monkey.
fantastic.
All right. On my
I guess
list to
that's
look
got a little
for.
bit of, well, that's not satire. That's just being a prick.
Yeah, he's badgering the customers, you know?
Yes, badgering the customers.
Being professionally persistent, that's what we choose to call it.
Okay.
There you go. I like that.
I do like that.
Especially persistent.
You may use it. No attribution necessary.
Yeah.
So both of you have really not known this industry outside of a pandemic.
Well, Mark has. I have.
Mark
not.
has.
Yeah, not
A little
sorry.
bit, yeah.
Cars
But, let's be honest. Getting into the four walls of the dealership and fixed ops, variable ops, no, I was skimming the surface. Now it's all in for sure.
But for me, no, I joined Cars September 2019. I got to physically sit in the office in Chicago for 5.5 months, and then went into a pandemic. And at the time, I was working with the OEMs, so I got to see a couple of years of pandemic through the OEM lens and their marketing teams before shifting into really thinking about how we centralize media strategy for all tiers. So yeah, the auto industry is new for me. It's super exciting. Like, talk about a place where change is happening constantly. I said it before, but you have to stay on top of how people are shopping, where are they shopping, why are they shopping, the speed that they're shopping at, and the important role digital continues to play in that shopping experience that leads, people to a dealer, ultimately going to the dealership and driving traffic there. So it's an exciting industry to learn and continue to learn in.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. I didn't read the article. I stayed away from it on purpose. But the headline was something around the first vehicle being sold over the metaverse. And I was like, "Are you serious?"
Must have been
Was it a real car?
I guess I'm getting too old for this crap. I don't know.
Was it a real car?
I don't know the answer to that question. I just read the headline and I'm like, first car sold over the metaverse. And I'm like, what? I'll see if I can find it.
Purchased with Bitcoin via the blockchain, and the car is
There you
sold
go.
with AI and a virtual reality. Okay.
Oh, did you find it?
No, I'm just
Oh.
speculating what it was.
Sound pretty impressive to me.
That's about right. I mean, that if I'm with you, there is a moment where I just feel old, but have to keep going. And Yeah, I've made a TikTok for sure, but I'm not a frequenter. So the metaverse feels very meta.
So I'm not going to click on it because then the video will play and probably mess up the audio. But there's a video, first cars sold in the metaverse. Acura enters the metaverse with the Integra NFT. Oh, goody. I'm not seeing the actual article that I saw.
So Alan Cooper is saying
Yeah.
Germain Group.
Yeah,
It was
where-
Germain. That's right. It was Germain.
It's Brian Kramer is all over this.
Oh, there it is.
Brian Kramer is one of the pioneers in vehicle acquisition. He's a heavy user of Accu-Trade. Grass is not going to grow under his feet. He's going to go on to the next and the next and the next. So
Here, Alex, I'm going to send you. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can. I'm going to send you the link. Maybe you can bring it up on the.
You should be able to. Just pop it up and.
Oh, there's a
bring it
YouTube
on
video of it
screen.
as well. Very cool.
Yeah. I sent it to you on your on iMessage.
Wow. That video is pretty awesome. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, but
first
it's
sold in the metaverse.
yeah, it's world's first retail automotive transaction in the metaverse completed Germain Toyota in Naples. Just a few months ago, hearing the word metaverse may have triggered thoughts about Facebook facelift. I'm not going to read this whole thing.
Oh.
It's actually a pretty long article,
Okay, this is.
but some cool photos there, and they're all walking around with their virtual reality headsets.
yeah,
On Brian Kramer. Yeah.
yep, he's the guy.
It's so funny. I saw this and I did not click on it. Now I regret not reading it.
Let's see. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting
All right.
behind the desk.
Yeah.
With the
That's
the VR headset on. Oh,
All
Yeah.
right.
yeah. We're all gonna that scares me, man. If I was younger, maybe it wouldn't, but I don't know, man. So
that
the
makes
question is, was it a virtual car or an actual car?
we'll have to research that a little further.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that posted over in the forums. It's probably make for a pretty.
It does make the point, though, that even if you've been in the auto industry for a while, there's so much new stuff happening that you can come in and get excited about.
True. And every 4 years is a new model that you can sort of get excited about, and you got to find different ways to market that particular vehicle.
Exactly.
Yeah, nonstop. So you guys got to attend the very first NADA for yourself, and what was that, the first NADA in 2 years? So a lot of pent up demand and discussions probably going on.
Yeah.
So what was it like for your first NADA?
Well, so
Mark.
actually, here's kind of an interesting way to serve this up. This is not my first NADA. So Forever Car, we had.
Okay, of course not.
Yeah, well, it did not happen with ease. Let me put it that way. We had just the tiniest little table off into some corner, and I was like, man, I was super proud because we were at NADA and we were an itty bitty startup. But I walked into the day before the conference opened. We did sort of let's get familiar with the booth and that kind of stuff. And I walked around the corner. I'm like, holy smokes, this thing's double decker. It's vast. There's 20, 30, I don't even know how many demo stations. I had a coffee bar. The carpeting was glorious. And I said, man,
I spent so much money on those.
Well, we're not going to leave anything behind here. We're going all in. Yeah,
I mean, that's the
sure
quote
enough,
right there. The carpeting was glorious.
The carpeting was, I felt like just laying down and I actually
Taking
didn't.
a nap.
Probably, yeah, took a little nap. People would have tripped over me, but that's okay. But for sure, it did not disappoint after that. This was for the work that I was doing. This was very much we're putting a brand new product out in market. We had just acquired Accu-Trade, just closed on March 1st, that transaction. And 2 weeks later, we're out presenting actual product that just got a ton of interest. And the way these things go, when you're going through due diligence, and my part in the due diligence process was, validating the functionality of the product. And you really never know until you're actually putting the product in front of actual buyers if this is like good, or like, oh shoot, man, maybe we shouldn't have written that big of a check. But to my great satisfaction, we just had a tremendous amount of interest. We had a goal of pre-selling X number of contracts. We blew past that goal. So really, really gratifying and validating to a large extent what our strategy is. So I was just completely blown away by the whole experience, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and for me, my second NADA, I got to go to the NADA 2020 right before everything shut down. And I will say the difference was people were excited to be there. Getting to spend time on the floor with the team at Cars, I mean, seeing them excited about what we have to offer, excited to talk to dealers, existing customers, new customers. There was just an energy that is hard. Like, you can't get that energy sitting in your office at home. You get that energy when you talk to a dealer or go into a dealership, but when you put everybody in a room together, the energy is amazing. And so it felt good to be there. And you felt it all around. You felt it everywhere you went. People seeing each other, a lot of folks for the first time in 2 years. And it was nice. There was moments of feeling like family again too. Like, oh, we're all together again. And as Mark said, the carpet was great. I stood on that carpet for many hours.
Glorious?
I don't know if I'd say glorious because my feet definitely hurt at the end of the day.
Just think of how they would have been on fire had it not been for the glorious carpet, though.
This is true. This is fair. But the coffee bar kept us going, and he's right. It was the energy was good. The booth was amazing, and the dealers we talked to, you could feel their energy and excitement around what's new. Like, I'm here to see what's new, and it was Accu-Trade. It was a headline for us, and a lot of interest in talking about, how does it work? Where do I sign up? So it was an amazing experience to be a part of.
Well, we definitely want to spend some time on Accu-Trade, but I'm wondering if there were some other themes that came up while talking to dealers at the show, or even other vendors. That's another big part of NADA. I know the dealer body doesn't think that much about it, but so many partnership deals and things started in NADA.
Yeah.
One of the themes that I heard is now that we're kind of entering into this new digitally enabled shopping and buying experience, there's a lot of dealers, even big dealer groups, that are a step behind, and they're looking to evaluate just about everything that they have technology-wise, and potentially make some pretty significant changes and the processes to accompany those changes. Like, they're really deeply investigating their current sort of tech stack and whether that is durable and going to allow them to be agile. Because I think they're like, okay, things are this digital thing is actually quite real, and I got to really, really get serious about this because that's where this whole thing is going. And of course, the pandemic really amplified that. So that was my thing. That my takeaway is nothing seems to be sacred. They're really looking to make decisions about their tech stack and all of the angst associated with unplugging this and getting another tool in, which means training and process change. They're like, I think it's time to bite the bullet, and that's a bit of a sea change, I think, for the industry. And I didn't hear that once or twice. I heard like many versions of that throughout the several days.
Yeah, I think a similar, maybe
changes.
along the same lines theme. I heard dealers trying to find efficiencies. Like, I feel like I understand I need to invest in more digital retailing solutions, but how do I choose which one is right without having to buy multiples, right? And I think from my perspective, it was a lot about, as Mark said, the pandemic pushed some dealers maybe into more digital territory than they were prior to the pandemic. They've had to figure this out maybe a little bit faster than they had the pandemic not happened. And they're asking themselves, wait, am I wasting money if I'm trying to reach every customer out there that ever might think about intending to buy a car? Instead, how do I get more efficient with how I'm spending my money to target shoppers in media, in display and video? And also, I don't have a lot of cars on my lot. So cars, can that advertising message be that I acquire cars? Like, dealers actually asking me, wait, if I'm reaching the cars audience, can I talk to them about acquiring cars and also selling a car? And as Mark talks about buy sell, it's the operations and the mechanics of it, but it's also making sure that you're advertising that message that you buy cars too, and doing that effectively and efficiently. And so there was a lot of efficiency discussion that I heard, and smarter ways to use digital retailing solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely going to be the big leap. If anyone was going to put a theme on what digitally changed for the car business because of COVID, it would be automation, technological efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, as you talk about different mediums, what about like different video campaigns or display? Have you seen maybe some dealerships change up their message around that, and what's been effective?
Yeah, I'll talk about that for a minute. And it's such a nice pairing to be here with Mark, because I think that's it's really this sort of dual purpose conversation. On cars, we started running some We Buy Cars campaigns, which doesn't sound that exciting. It's like, that's been around a while. Like, what's new about that, Julie? But what's new is that the audience on cars, and I'll just run through some data points, but we know that 25 million monthly uniques come to our site. And we know that 50% of the people who come to our site are going to buy a car in the next 30 days. The next 30 days. That's incredible. And so there is this moment where dealers have this chance to just get in front of our audience very quickly. Like, the time between shopping and buying is happening faster and faster. And so, with digital solutions coming up. And what we saw, to answer your question, we actually had a dealer who was running a version of a We Buy Cars message and display ads on our site, combined with running that same message in Fuel and Market video, basically targeting cars and market, the pure shopper audience offsite as well in video, OTT, and social. And so by hitting both the cars audience onsite and offsite, they saw traffic that came from cars go to their vehicle acquisition landing page. And the time spent on page went from about 1:45 to over 15 minutes.
Wow.
yeah, high quality audience, high quality traffic. Their Google Analytics, we saw the number of clicks to their site, to their vehicle acquisition pages. It went up by like 140% in the first 2 weeks of running this campaign. So we think it's like talking with somebody in the market, you think the need is out there. And if you think about, instead of selling cars, you think about, okay, what does the dealer need right now? This really proved to us that vehicle acquisition is more than obvious, the need, but you have to message it. Like, I like to say, we're not the field of dreams. Like, if you build it, they will come. Does not happen. You actually have to tell people you built it to get them to come to your site.
Yeah, and I'll just sort of continue that in the context of, Accu-Trade is software. There's no strategy necessarily behind how to drive consumer engagement. And so again, the pairing with Julie is kind of interesting here, because what we could do is sell software, and then you're kind of pitted against the other software providers, and there are many of them. But when you sell a vertically integrated solution in which the software is highly effective because you're driving eyeballs to that particular piece of software, and engaging the consumer in describing their vehicle so that they can move all the way through the process. And oh, by the way, if they leak out of that funnel, how do we recapture them and re-engage them using media and retargeting to get them back engaged in the funnel? That becomes a completely different conversation. You're no longer selling a widget and they're comparing you to everybody else's widget. You're selling an actual end-to-end strategy in which you can have a high degree of certainty that you're generating quantity and quality of vehicles for the dealer to buy, which obviously also leads into, well, why don't you trade it in? Because there's tax advantages. Oh, okay, I didn't know about that. And then all of a sudden you're talking about selling them another car, right? So it's a virtuous circle, and kind of the gift that keeps on giving, and highly effective way of bundling more than one piece of the car's ecosystem together into a solution that puts you in a completely different conversation with dealers.
Well, Mark, if you don't mind, I'm not sure that the audience knows what Accu-Trade is. So mind taking a quick step back and...
Yeah, and how does it compare? Because I haven't dug into, because I get tons of emails every day at my dealer account, and I don't know how I get on those email lists, but it's always a different one every day trying to promote some type of, trade in or, we buy a car type of message and software. And I'm always curious, what are the differences between what you guys offer and some of the other acquisition tools out there?
Yeah, so maybe a bit of background here, because it's instructive to understand the history of Accu-Trade and how we got to where we are now. I'll try to breeze through this real quickly. Bob Hollinshead started and built the KBB Instant Cash Offer platform and sold it to Cox. Took a bit of time, make sure he had the non-compete expire, and then built up Accu-Trade based on the good and the not so good of the KBB platform. The fundamental difference between Accu-Trade and, I would argue, any other provider in this vehicle acquisition space is the accuracy, not coincidentally, Accu-Trade, accuracy and completeness of appraising a vehicle and doing it at a full 17-digit VIN level. Many other ways that people use to value vehicles, especially in the dealer operation using guidebooks, it doesn't offer that level of precision at all. And one example of how we've taken this level of precision and accuracy to a completely different level is integrating OBD, onboard diagnostic capabilities.
Mhm.
So these
That's
are the
so
little.
cool.
Say again?
I said that feature's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, we're documenting the savings. Haven't quite gotten the official, like we can release this elsewhere, but multiple hundreds of dollars of detecting imperfections in the electrical or mechanical of the vehicle, kind of getting the EKG of the vehicle and dropping that instantaneously into the appraisal platform. And you don't have to bother trying to understand what the codes mean and what the recon cost would be associated with those codes. It's all done. So think about it this way. If on average, you're able to save multiple hundreds of dollars in unknown reconditioning costs, which all of a sudden you're now able to pick up, and you can provide a detailed account of that transparently to the seller, it improves not only the selling experience, but the buying experience, by order of magnitude. And that's kind of what our angle is here. We believe that the sort of the engine that drives vehicle acquisition must be the appraisal process, because that's where decisions are made. And that's, as the axiom goes, you make money when you buy the car, not sell the car, as I'm sure you guys who are in the car business know well. This is what needs to be the centerpiece of anybody's vehicle acquisition strategy. And then it becomes a matter of, okay, how are we going to get more vehicles into this platform? Well, you tap into the cars.com audience. You tap into not only the folks that are interested in selling vehicle, because they might want to sort of decouple the sell transaction from the buy transaction. That is certainly a durable trend. But also dealers' own VDP supercharge that trade experience, and you get all of that flow into the appraisal tool. We also use the same technology to power the trade experience on the dealer's website. We also use the same technology to power every other channel, fixed ops. By that, I would mean the service bay. I mean, that's an untapped opportunity, a captive audience there. Many other channels that are activated using the same technology. What ends up happening is you have a consistent experience for the consumer. Imagine the consumer is on your website, they get one valuation, then they hit cars.com VDP, they get a different valuation, then they come into the service. It's a mess. So we're offering a single consistent way of establishing the value of the vehicle, the replacement value of the vehicle. That's another important thing to consider here. At the 17-digit VIN level, we have precision that nobody else has, and it boils down to cost savings for the dealer, increased PVR for the dealer, and a significant increase in flow of consumer vehicle acquisition opportunities coming from cars.com. So I said a lot there, but that's the package, that's the bundle. And the value prop to the dealer is, pretty obvious. Do you want more vehicles? Yes. Okay, we got that. Do you want to increase PVR on vehicles you're acquiring? Yes. So it's a pretty solid strategy, and one that is playing very nicely in the dealer community.
And Mark, there's something that I've said already on this show, that I'm still very new to the auto industry. But one of the things that I found interesting about Accu-Trade is that the dealer can actually just choose which type of vehicles they're interested in through Accu-Trade. So this isn't flooding a dealer with leads of every car out there that they might be interested in. It's actually allowing a dealer to be to select what they're interested in. That sounded much cooler to me than some of the other products I've seen too.
It's funny you say that. When you're talking about appraising vehicles at the VIN level, there is a tool that's been out there for a long time. We don't have to bring them up, but I think most dealers use it, franchise dealers for sure. And at my stores, we used to buy into the religion of what that tool was espousing. Um, and we ended up with like buying minivans at our Porsche store, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. The Porsche buyer is definitely in the market for a
Exactly.
minivan. So
Yeah, because it's a hot car.
yeah. A couple other stories I could share. We'll leave that alone. But I like that point there and being able to say, nope, we want to. We're a sports car dealership. We want sports cars.
Yeah, the other that's we can enable algorithmically that whole process to happen. You just got to tell us what you want, and we can keep that set of rules updated because it continues to be a not necessarily super volatile, but it certainly is not a industry that just is sitting flat. There is some dynamic nature to it. But the other thing I think that's super interesting is being able to, in addition to specifying the kind of vehicle that you want, being able to give the dealer the insight into what they already have on their lot in their inventory system, and offering a level of understanding about the replacement value of those vehicles and which of those vehicles is beginning to feel distressed, and giving them an exit strategy, all using robust data that has been accumulated and provided through Accu-Trade for many, many years. So really cool process of like, let's make sure we're optimizing the acquisition part, and then let's not stop there because getting turn in your inventory is obviously critical. Removing distressed inventory, predicting what that distressed inventory might look like in 30 days, and giving you an action plan on that inventory right now. That's also a massive cost savings. We're going to be paying close attention to that. Obviously, it's not even April 1. We're not even 1 month past our acquisition. So we're going to have a nice, robust roadmap of new products and innovations coming out too.
There was
Sounds like fun.
There was a question from Alan Cooper. I'll throw it back up here. And I don't know whether Cars is ready to speculate yet on this, but I was having a conversation with my uncle last week, and he was talking about how they don't see the market really changing this year. So based on a lack of new car inventory, there'll still be high new car pricing and high used car prices. But
yeah, I think it's going to last a little longer than what maybe we initially were thinking.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah, there's articles every day that seem to be pointing to this.
Yeah, we might be in this situation for well over another year.
Especially if manufacturers are, purposely doing some of this.
One thing I think to consider is, and we get this question often, which is, I can see the need to acquire vehicles because of the inventory shortages on the new side, obviously affecting used. And is that, everybody speculates about how long that's going to last. I don't know. I'm not going to try to predict that. What I do know though is whenever a correction happens and we get down to some point of normalcy, that's actually the point at which a appraisal platform like Accu-Trade really shines, because you could actually be kind of sloppy today in your vehicle acquisition and you're going to be fine. Prices are kind of in a weird place right now. When things get a little tight, and you got to really manage the levers, and you got to understand what the opportunity is when you're acquiring a vehicle that it's not necessarily retail that's your exit, but it's wholesale and it's auction. And you can sort of see the landscape and make some really important informed decisions. That I think is the point at which Accu-Trade even becomes more valuable, because you don't have a whole lot of room for error here. Right now, you can kind of be sloppy, frankly, and you can get away with it, but not so much in the future. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't optimize for PVR today and use OBD and other techniques to, really get a good number on a car. But dealers are going to look at that, and there's some emotion involved. I want to take that vehicle. I'm going to do it, and I'll make it work one way or another. I think those decisions will become a little bit more carefully sort of analyzed as things begin to normalize, and using data and guiding decisions and kind of taking the emotion out of the equation, frankly, in my view, is going to be even more important as time goes on.
I think that goes back to the point of dealers trying to find digital efficiency. So as we look to the future, to reemphasize Mark's point, if you can be a little sloppy right now, you can take in all the potential vehicle acquisition leads there are out there. In the future, you might not want that. Like, you might want a tool like Accu-Trade that allows you to choose which types of vehicles, makes, models, years you're interested in, and only receive those leads, right? Like, cut out the waste, focus on what you want, and Accu-Trade allows a dealer to do that, to focus in on, here's what I'm looking for. I don't want to pay for all that other stuff. I don't need all that. I don't need every lead. Just send me the ones I'm interested in buying.
That's a good point. Well, there's
Just
a
send me the
question out
Buicks.
here. Question from Dan, who apparently has gotten a sneak peek at something going on at Lot Links, but he's curious who you see as competition to Accu-Trade.
Yeah, it kind of comes from a couple different angles. And, I think as you hear me answer the question, you'll also, I hope, hear that we think we're kind of unique in many respects. But the angles that it comes in are sort of the KBB ICO, and their model, if you're not aware of it, is exclusivity at a geographic level typically, and very much what Julie was saying, which is you got it all. And the issue that we want to avoid here is the inefficiencies in that model, which is, there are people at the dealership who have to sift through that flood of vehicle acquisition opportunities and find the ones that they want. And, that is a hard cost. So we're differing from KBB in that respect. The other angle is, I would say, more the Car Gurus model, which is creating this rules engine that goes in, procures inventory on behalf of the dealer. We have, some people would say, well, you're behind on Car Gurus. Frankly, the benefit of us getting into the market right now has allowed us to study very carefully what that model is and understand what it does well and not so well, and maneuver around it. But that is I think they call it the buying matrix, which enables the dealer to sort of specify their needs and procure that inventory on behalf of the dealer. We think we have a much stronger model from the standpoint of we of course check that box on the rules, but again, I'll go back to, you can have all the fancy rules and vast amounts of people showing up at your front door who want to trade in their vehicle. If you don't put the right number on the vehicle and you're not using data to drive that decision, you're going to end up being inefficient, upside down, buy for the wrong reasons. I could go on and on and on. So
how about a really big one? Get away from ADESA.
Huh. I'm not here to
source of cars. It's not them.
Yeah, I'm not here to sort of rain on anybody's parade. In fact,
we will. We'll talk for you.
Yeah, fair enough. But
leave that to Jeff and Alex.
Yeah, frankly, our view of any platform along those lines is we can bring additional data that enables a dealer to make a better decision. Use ADESA, use Manheim. I'm not too sure I care, but use our plugin that sits right side by side with the simulcast that automatically ingests the VIN, populates all the information from a variety of sources, and gives the buyer the tools that they need to make the right kind of decision. So keep doing what you're doing, and we'll enable you to make better decisions.
I like that.
So
I didn't think about using it for that.
Yeah, we're kind of agnostic in many ways. It's like we want to power the appraisal of every vehicle on the planet, and produce a condition report that is the gold standard in the industry.
That is a tiny vision. You guys should
Super
expand
tiny.
that. So if a dealer wanted to learn more about Accu-Trade, what's the best way for them to figure it out?
Well, I think the best way is to talk to their cars account exec, whomever that might be. We have a process, of course, to funnel all that to the right subject matter experts if needed, and then we'll get after it. I mean, we are highly motivated to make this product ubiquitous. Dealer penetration is super high on the list. We also are, I would say that we're very, very attentive to the supply side of this marketplace, which are consumers who have vehicles they want to sell, which speaks back to the points we were raising about media. Like if we expect this marketplace to be as vibrant as it needs to be and satisfy both the buyer and seller, we need to pay really close attention to the supply side. And that is, we got to drive additional eyeballs and demand to consumers who are in market, or even to those who have a vehicle in their garage, and we can reach them and tell them, here's the value of their vehicle, and get them engaged in the process. Because if you don't have supply, then demand, which are dealers, doesn't really matter. If you do have supply, then demand will show up. So we got to solve for the supply side of the equation. Mm-hmm. And then frankly, everything else will take care of itself.
And of course, back it up with some ads, right, Julie?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know, I like to think about this as you guys stick with me on this. I'm going to give you an analogy, and then I'm going to make you hungry.
Onions?
Are you ready for this? Get ready for this. This is the way to go out here. If you walk into the grocery store and you go buy a bag of Tostitos, right? The Tostitos and the salsa are sitting next to each other. They have to go together. Like they have to, you don't buy salsa and you're like, this is a great snack. I'm going to go home and eat some salsa. You have to use a chip to put
You don't
salsa.
know me.
That is the vessel that gets the salsa in your mouth. I actually think about advertising and Accu-Trade as two products that belong together. And the reason is exactly what Mark just said. You can't put the Accu-Trade on your site. You can't have it on your listings if no one knows about it. Like, what good is it doing you? And consumers are out there actively trying to find the right offer for their vehicle so they can purchase the next one. So you have to advertise that you have this solution, and you have to target audiences that are in market, right? Don't target intenders sometime 6 months from now. Target shoppers that are in market right now. And so the combination of sort of the cars audience through media and the cars audience who is interested in buying a car, plus the dealer saying, I'll do that. Like, these things just belong together like chips and salsa to me. Like, you should not have one.
Which one is Accu-Trade? That's what I want to know. Chips or salsa? Doesn't matter.
You choose, Mark. I'm flexible. I'm flexible.
Nacho
I'm a salsa
cheese.
kind of guy, so that's it.
All right. The media is the chip that drives the salsa or the Accu. Yeah, drives the dealer.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. I'm sitting here thinking grocery store and food now. I'm like, why don't they have the Oreo cookies over by the milk?
Amen. Amen. We're gonna.
You know, they would probably up their cookie sales by at least 20%.
No doubt.
This is right. Now we're going to go redesign groceries.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's a great point. It's a great way to look at it. That can lead you down a good path.
Yeah, it's a solution set. It's not a widget. It's like, oh, you can add a widget, but you have to think about the full solution end to end. And you have to think about targeting the right person who's in market, or the person who's looking to sell a car. You have to make sure you have the right software on site to give that guaranteed offer. You have to make sure that the dealer is able to select who they want to and what kind of car they want to buy, right? It really has to all hang together. Otherwise, you're sort of shooting in the dark.
I got
No
a
doubt.
sound effect for that.
Uh-oh.
That's your mic drop, Julie.
Okay. That's a horrible one.
Well, I'll take it. I've never had anybody sound effect my mic drop moment. So thank you.
Mic drop.
Without the visual, it's a little hard to interpret.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate you joining us today. That's some great information, and Alex, we're gonna have to see if we can't maybe make NADA next year. It's been
For
too
sure.
long.
Where is it next year?
Dallas, I think Dallas.
That's right.
maybe?
Yeah, it's in Texas.
Oh, I can handle that.
All right, well, let's record
Go there. I
live
might not come back.
Let's record live from NADA
sure.
next year.
From the Cars Mega Tower.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
With
And I'll give
we
one
should
more-
and should we just sit on the glorious carpet and do it there?
Yeah.
Yes,
just
for sure.
Curl up in a little ball. Bring your favorite dog with you too, and you can all just hang out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing, I'll just say, Mark answered this before, but if there's anyone interested that's listening to this and they're more interested in Accu-Trade, please go to growwithcars.com, growwithcars.com, and / Accu-Trade and some other things there. But you can find information there.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
it up here from
Jacob's got the link up.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
Excellent.
Mark, Julie, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for
fun.
having us.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one.
You
Yeah, have a
too.
great weekend.